Hi everyone, welcome to Paytm Talks. We're very happy. We are here for an IPO Pay Charcha. We're going to talk about the LIC IPO. My name is Varun Sridhar. I'm your host for today. I'm the CEO of a company called Paytm Money. We are Paytm's 100% subsidiary that focuses on wealth management. And I'm here with two very special people. बहुत दो आज बड़े special guests हैं मेरे. एक आप सब लोग जानते हैं परिमल आदे. Parimal, welcome to the show. Very nice to see you.
Thank you, Varun.
I follow Parimal for those of you who do not know because he writes these handwritten notes every day. और हर दिन अगर आप सुबह if you don't want to be digital in your life, you have to read Parimal's handwritten notes. Right, and it's very beautifully written. And then next we have somebody very special, Aishwarya Dadich from Ambit Asset Management. He's a great fund manager, and very happy to have you, Aishwarya, with us.
Hi, good evening.
Okay, so what we'll try and do here is we'll just try and do a very short 15-minute LIC IPO ki sab log baat kar rahe hain, everybody's talking about it. And what I want to try and do is to stay very focused on, in a short way, what could you do? What does it mean for a retail investor? अगर आप retail investor हैं, आप सुनो आपके लिए. Parimal, let's start with you. Opening question. बहुत सारा न्यूज़ है, बहुत सारा फोमो है, fear of missing out है, बहुत सारी कमेंट्री है. If what would be your opening 2 minute remark? मैं एक retail investor हूँ. I have I don't know 50,000 1 lakh rupees. मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि यार LIC में डाल दूँ, नहीं डालूँ, डाल दूँ, नहीं डालूँ. I know the brand, I love it. What's your opinion, Parimal?
So I think इन्वेस्टमेंट्स स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करने के समय में हमेशा बताता हूँ रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स को, मतलब अगर आप डायरेक्ट स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हो, लोगों को कैसा होता है कि टिप चाहिए होती है कुछ और इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करते हैं, वो वैसे डिसीजंस ले लेते हैं. तो नॉर्मली आई सजेस्ट दैट ओके, तो आपको स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट करना है ना, तो एटलीस्ट यू शुड नो दैट पर्टिकुलर कंपनी. अगर वो कंपनी का बिजनेस क्या है अगर आप समझ सकते हो, वो कंपनी के प्रोडक्ट्स क्या है वो आप अगर समझ सकते हो, तो ऐसी कंपनीज में आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करना चाहिए कि जो कंपनीज 10 20 30 साल से पहले भी चल रही थी. नॉर्मल है, रिटेल इन्वेस्टर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से यहाँ पे बात हो रही है कि उसकी जो थॉट एक होती है, एंड जो दूसरे होता है कि आने वाले समय में ये कितने सालों तक इसकी अर्निंग विजिबिलिटी रहेगी, ग्रोथ पोटेंशियल क्या है. तो ये सिंपल चीजें हैं. अगर कोई कंपनी के प्रोडक्ट या सर्विसेज आप कंज्यूम कर रहे हो तो आप वो चीज जज कर सकते हो. तो मुझे लगता है कि इस पर्टिकुलर स्क्रीनिंग में LIC एक ऐसी कंपनी है जो हर तरफ से, मतलब लोगों के, मतलब ऐसा हार्डली कोई घर होगा कि जिसके घर में LIC की पॉलिसी नहीं होगी. बट अब ये मैं सजेस्ट नहीं करूँ कि अरे वो आप जाओ और LIC की पॉलिसी लो. नो, आई एम नॉट सजेस्टिंग दैट. बट डेफिनेटली अगर आपको वो पर्टिकुलर ब्रांड, वो पर्टिकुलर कंपनी, वो पर्टिकुलर बिजनेस, उस पर्टिकुलर बिजनेस का प्रोडक्ट समझ में पता है, समझ में आता है, आप कंज्यूम कर रहे हो, तो डेफिनेटली यू कैन बी अ शेयर होल्डर टू दैट कंपनी. सो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए नो योर बिजनेस, अगर ये पता है तो डेफिनेटली वन कैन टेक अ कॉल.
Very interesting. So Parimal says, know your business. Everybody knows LIC. I'll give you a few facts. LIC assets under management is bigger than all the asset management companies. जितने भी म्यूचुअल फंड हाउसेज आप सुनते हैं, इंडस्ट्री लेवल पे एक कंपनी उनसे बड़ी है. It has a 64% market share. It has shown very. I was on a Twitter Spaces event with Parimal, and he was explaining quarter four results, Jan, Feb, March 22 have been fantastic. But Aishwarya, over to you. Professional question, and would love a answer which details out for a retail investor. What do you think about the valuation? How are you looking at it?
So, Varun, one thought which I want to share with all the people who are listening here is that great business necessarily doesn't mean great investments. Great business at great price is a great investment, right? We all know, and what Parimal spoke about, the quality of LIC as a brand, right? There is no doubt about it. But with the recent changes in the valuations, when they have came out with a new prices, it is completely changing the whole narrative, right? And as I say, life insurance business is where I have worked almost 7 years as a fund manager managing their money. Is going to be a very, very difficult business. It is a business with a float. It is a business which has a long tail, right? So looking at the balance sheets of LIC, it gives us a different level of comfort. But what makes really exciting is they're coming at a very, very attractive proposition. So what I meant by that is, normally life insurance businesses are valued on price to embedded value. So embedded value is a concept which is, you can think similar to like what's the price to book for a bank or an NBFC in a very rough manner, because I don't want to sound pedantic here, but what if you see, there are like 4, 5 listed companies in India which are into life insurance space. And they are almost like 5% or 15% of the size of LIC. Obviously, growing much faster because of the base and their whole digital initiative. But I can tell you that they are trading somewhere between 2.5 times to as high as 4 times price to embedded value. And after the reset of the valuation for LIC, because this is a big IPO, 21,000 crore, biggest so far that India has done, right? And they want to leave something on the table for the investors. They are coming at as low as 1.1 time, right? The post-money valuation would be close to 6 lakh crore. The embedded value, which is nothing in very simple term, the net worth plus the future cash flows, profits discounted today. You can just Google it and there's a lot of information for our retail investors. But if you look at from market cap compared to embedded value, it would be close to 1.1. So 1.1 time compared to 2.5 to 4 time private life insurance, which obviously are growing faster. So there is a lot for on the table for investors. That is what it makes it very, very exciting.
Very, very interesting, Aishwarya. And so Parimal says great brand, great story, known Indian name. Aishwarya says, look, the value that they have left on the table, earlier valuations are very high, maybe. So the government came in and said, hey, let's reduce the size, let's go out, leave something for the investors. And Parimal, one of the things that all our investors, everybody is also asking you, discounts, राइट रिटेल को कितना डिस्काउंट मिल रहा है पॉलिसी होल्डर को कितना डिस्काउंट मिल रहा है व्हाट डू यू थिंक शुड डिस्काउंट बी द रीजन दे शुड अप्लाई व्हाट्स योर ओपिनियन ऑन दैट एंड व्हाट्स द डिस्काउंट इफ यू कैन आल्सो टॉक अबाउट इट प्लीज
It should not be the reason, but unfortunately it becomes the reason. That's the problem of discounts, and that's why government gives those discounts. So 45 rupees discount for retail investors and 60 rupees discount for the policy holders. So policy holders को तो actually reservation उन्होंने दिया हुआ है 10% of the shares में. So अगर आप policy holder हो और आप retail investor के कोटा में भी apply करना चाहते हो, so दोनों चीजें आप कर सकते हो. So definitely value on table तो government ने रखने की कोशिश यहाँ पे की है. Though it will be interesting to watch कि 17th of May को जब कंपनी लिस्ट होगी, so at that point of view मार्केट सेंटिमेंट्स कैसे रहते हैं, कोई निगेटिविटी मार्केट में होती है क्या, वो सारी चीजें भी फैक्टर हो सकती है मार्केट में. बट एटलीस्ट अभी तो मतलब कंपेयर टू दी HNI कैटेगरी और द क्वालिफाइड इंस्टीट्यूशनल बायर कैटेगरी, डेफिनेटली कुछ एक्स्ट्रा वैल्यू तो रिटेल इन्वेस्टर्स को और पॉलिसी होल्डर्स को गवर्नमेंट ने दी है. बट इसीलिए करना चाहिए क्या, मैंने जैसे बोला कि नहीं करना चाहिए, बट इसीलिए होगा, जरूर पक्का होगा वो.
So Parimal says, and I will tell you, I run a wealth management platform at Paytm Money. We have millions of users. I always tell my investors three things, right? And always you should think about these three things, people listening. Please don't chase discounts or tips, right? It has no value. Don't chase it, right? And Aishwarya explained to you and Parimal explained to you the real embedded value, the long-term valuation, the longer story, right? Don't run behind 5%, 4%, because that anyway, if the stock is good, if the valuation is good, it will come in the long run. But it is okay. It's a nice icing on the cake. It's a cherry जो हमें pastry में बच्चों ने मिलती थी वो है. But don't presume that that's it, right? So that's one tip I give. The second tip I give to my investors is please read, take your time, attend the session. And those of you who are listening, you're already doing that, right? So fantastic. And third, we'll talk about asset allocation, but वो थोड़ी देर में बात करेंगे. But Aishwarya, a question for you. I think there is LIC doing a great job. If there were 2-3 reasons why you would say the business model is fundamentally strong on the positive side, and later we'll talk about the risks, but on the positive side, what are the things that you like about the company's business model other than the brand? I think we all know, but let's go a bit deeper and say, what do you like about non-brand, other than brand? What is it that makes you say LIC is a good long-term thing to think about?
So see, obviously the biggest one is the brand, right? Which is what the whole excitement is about. But if you go deeper and if you look at various other measures of assessing your life insurance businesses, like if you just to speak about persistency, right? Or if you have to speak about say expense ratio, if you do the comparison with other private insurance companies, they are heaps and bounds ahead. Their expense ratios are much lower. Persistency is something which you can't beat what LICs are standing at, right? Even their claim settlement ratios is the highest. The only one come closest is HDFC Life, right? And if you look at the balance sheet, the kind of reserve that they are sitting upon is humongous. You can't see a balance sheet like this. All my 15 years, I've been reading through this balance sheet, and when I go through this particular balance sheet, you have to just read it 3 times. What numbers I am reading at the end of the day? So this is something which really puts up into a different league altogether, right? But see, all of this also come with certain areas. When you become an elephant, and when you've been driven by a different way of working, and you are not possibly, I would say, at the digital initiative part. Now, they have done phenomenally well in the last 3-4 years, but they could have done much better compared to what the private insurance companies are doing. So it might, hint their impact their growth sometime ahead. And we all know it's a government company. We know there would be obviously some, I would say, blocks to that complete execution. But I can tell you they've done commendable job over the last 50, 60 years. They have been a big contributor to our economy, and they really stand strong.
So very interesting. I think you say, hey, brand, we cannot, it's the big story. There is a very strong distribution arm that people talk about, right? And, there's a very solid agent network. The question I think, Aishwarya, that you also ask is saying persistency is good, new revenues are good, but the real topic is going to be the digital world, the technology out there, what's changing in India, the future of the next 20 years. Parimal, over to you. I'm a retail investor. I think the positive story is there. Let me switch you and make you the devil's advocate, saying, hey, what are the risks that a retail investor should really think about? Because it's a short session and we have 4 more minutes to go. I want to ask you.
So losing market share is going to be the biggest risk LIC is going to play. So the private players, the kind of aggression we have seen in private players, that has already been seen in their market share. So currently LIC is at 64%. It used to be it was a monopoly. Then private players started coming in last 20 years. They've got almost 36% of the market share. So slowly they are eating out the market share. Plus now these new digital players are also coming. The existing private players are actually feeling that pressure from these digital players. So definitely LIC is going to be feeling the same thing. Plus whatever agents network they are having. So earlier agents were giving selling policies by showing the bonuses and all those things. Now the rules have changed. The bonus sharing, the profit sharing methods have been changed. So participating policies, the profit sharing will be 90% with the policyholders and 10% with the shareholders. Earlier it was 95% policyholders and 5% shareholders. Plus in non-participating, it will be completely with the shareholders. Non-participating policies profits will be shared with shareholders. So abhi ye risk rahegi. So जो एक aggression एजेंट्स का होता था, अब वो एग्रेशन सही में उतना ही रहेगा क्या, ये भी देखना इंपॉर्टेंट होगा. बिकॉज द प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स आर स्मार्ट. हमने वो ट्विटर स्पेस में डिस्कस नहीं किया, बट आई वाज थिंकिंग ऑन दैट पॉइंट कि प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स इतने स्मार्ट है कि आप इस पॉइंट को भी वो डीसेल कर सकते हैं एलआईसी को. एंड दैट्स व्हाट दैट कैन हैपन. बिकॉज I have worked in wealth management industry. I have worked with a bank, and we know about these products. So how things happen. So definitely these opportunities will be taken by the private players, the smart sellers or smart agents or smart relationship managers of private sector banks.
Very so Parimal says, look, we watch out how private sector is going to respond, because all of a sudden LIC का जो बिजनेस मॉडल था, जो यूनिट होल्डर्स को बोनस देने का प्रॉफिट से, इज गॉन, largely gone. So the agent used to tell you, renew the policy, I want to give to your daughter, to your son, all of that all of a sudden starts to become lower and lower. And so it is a level competitive field. Obviously there's a strong network, brand, relationship, but there is this new angle. The second risk is you need to watch out for growth. Third is technology, and fourth maybe is the fact that it's a government and enterprise. But all said and done, there is a valuation that, like Aishwarya pointed out, the embedded value, even compared to private sector players, is far lower. So the government has left something on the table for the investors as a long-term upside, right? I'll get concluding remarks, Aishwarya from you and Parimal from you in a minute. I'll start with Aishwarya first. Aishwarya, closing remarks, in 30 seconds, what would you tell a retail investor?
I think one should take it as a proxy of, rather than keeping cash in a portfolio, you should keep LIC. It should give you better return than that. You should not have too much of expectations. If it can beat inflation, it should definitely beat inflation. Great business, good thing for investors from valuation perspective, but don't go overboard. That is what I'm trying to say.
Very nice. He says, do it, but don't go overboard. take care of it. Parimal, what would be your concluding remarks to your users?
I think I'll build on Aishwarya's advice as he mentioned about in Twitter space about the margin of safety compared to the private players. I think that is one very important point he has made. The value which has been given on table is very good compared to the private players. So that catch-up valuation can happen provided there should be no shocks from Russia or Ukraine in coming days. So that's one thing people needs to keep in mind.
Absolutely. And for our users, first of all, thank you. We kept this really short. If you want the longer version, go to Twitter Spaces, a full recording of 45 minutes. But I would tell you, hey, look, IPOs are meant for long term. Please think of these as long term. LIC especially is a stock that, like Aishwarya said, consider it as cash, because, and then, if you think long term, it's upside, upside, and upside. And as you think about it, think about your asset allocation. I tell all Paytm money users, Paytm users, never put all your eggs in one basket. I personally follow 10%, 12%, 15%, not more. Think about a sector, not more than 10%. Think about government enterprises, not more than 10%. Never do one company more than 10%. But if you are going into it, figure out your categories. Thank you. Thank you, Parimal, for joining. And thank you, Aishwarya. Everybody else, have a good evening. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Varun. Thank you,
Thank
Aishwarya.
you.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.